Welcome. Welcome, everyone, to Ignite Your Dharma. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you today. I have spotlighted myself. Feel free to switch to gallery view if you would like. And really, it's truly my honor to share this wisdom and a lot of what I've been learning. I have been a teacher and a practitioner longer, but a teacher of yoga for over a decade, practitioner for my whole life. I grew up with yoga, and my family is a unique family. My father is from Assam in the northeast of India, and my mother is from Britain. I was born in the UK and then emigrated to the United States. We came like getting away from discrimination and violence against Indian and Pakistani and mixed race families. And a lot of that journey, as you might imagine, was really challenging, but it is part of the unfoldment, the dharma of my life, and what has brought me here with you today. And I'd love to, for the longest time, I didn't really understand what dharma was. I shied away from it. And in more recent years, I've come to see its deep connection with the heart of living our yoga, practicing our yoga. And so that's what I'm thrilled to share with you all. Just a couple logistics. Linda Lopes is here. I'll add a spotlight. Linda, if you want to wave, I don't know if you want to say anything, say hi to folks.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you, Susanna.
Yeah, and Linda and Linda actually took one of Ignite's teacher trainings way back in 2020, and I feel like has never left, has been supporting and works as a mentor and teacher within our 200-hour foundations yoga teacher training and our 300-hour yoga teacher training and so many other wonderful things, including yoga. So just really happy to have you here. Linda's here to support you all today. So if you need anything, you can direct message her or she'll be dropping things in the chat. Yeah, thank you, Linda. And okay, I'm just taking a moment. Wow, I'd love to just invite folks to share in the chat where you're here from. You can share native lands if you know them, and I'll see if I can pull up the link to find uh, your native land. And then also 2 words, how you're doing today. Yeah. So, for example, I'll share in the chat. I'm here from Fernandinho, Tatavium, and Chumash lands. And that is colonized as Santa Clarita in the north part of LA. And I'm just going to do some settings. All right. Yeah, amazing. Folks are here from all over Europe, Lenape land, southern Japan. Wow. Um, Ohlone land. Nicaragua, welcome from wherever you are. And also an invitation, if you have other things open, if you have like, sometimes I'm this person, so no shade, no shame. But if you have like a bunch of other tabs open or you're multitasking, invitation to let those things go and give yourself this time for yourself, for each other, for all of us. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and let me know in just a moment if you can see this. Can you see my screen? Nice. So please know that your Dharma does not need your or anyone else's permission, but it does need your participation. The world is not waiting for you to become perfect. It's waiting for you to be willing. And so we'll take a moment and just light a candle. If you have one where you are, you can light a candle to your willingness for transformation, for unfoldment. And just take a moment, take a deep breath in, gazing at that candle, gazing at the flame. And our mantra for tonight, Om Agni Namaha. Om Agni Namaha. This is, I ground in truth. I ignite my light. I ignite my light. And I'll keep the candle burning. Okay. So I wanted to share just a little bit about who I am. I won't share long, and I also know a lot of you are here newly to my space, and some of you have been hanging around here for many years, and so I want to share a few new things. But I'd love to know, maybe just drop a one in the chat if you are new to learning with me, if this is your first time ever joining me for a class. Oh, so cool. Welcome. Ah, that's awesome. Okay, great. Nice. Well, welcome. So I love to teach. My favorite thing to do is teach. I was a teacher um, of English and history in LA Unified for about 15 years. Really, at the end of the day, what I realized I was teaching was empowerment, and liberation. And in 2015, circumstances conspired to send me away from LA, where I had always lived. I was teaching at the school I thought my kiddo would go to. And all of a sudden, I lost my job. My partner lost his job. And we had no income and a little baby. And this is Kailash now, grown up more. And we had to move to Florida because my partner got work there. This was one of those moments, right? The unfoldment of our Dharma is partly a responding to the causes and conditions and what arises in the moment. That moment, although it was miserably terrible, horrible, like not what I wanted, was the birthing of Ignite Institute for Yogic Studies and Social Change. I had been teaching in LA and actually had run 2 yoga teacher trainings in person, but it wasn't really a formal institution yet. And that move gave me the time and space to start Ignite. And so I've run, I believe, about 30, it's now 30 YTT 200s foundational trainings and about 20 300s, both in person and online. I've also written 2 books, Embrace Yoga's Roots and Ignite Your Yoga, both bestsellers, and given a viral TED Ed talk. Oh my gosh, that's so funny to say all this stuff. But I'm also a student. I just went back to school. That's a whole story in itself that I won't get into today, but I'm studying yoga psychology, and that work is a big part of what I'll share with you today. I'm a partner, a parent, also a daughter, and I'm a parent of a tween kiddo who's about to be 13, and 2 Labradoodles, Harmony, who is our gift from Florida as well, and Bliss, this cutie. And I'm learning the bass guitar just for fun. It's really so awesome to have a hobby that isn't just a hobby, right? And we have a little family band. So share that with you. So, question for you. Have you ever been told to find your passion, but it left you feeling emptier than you were when you started? And you can type a yes if that's ever been something you've experienced. Oh, just do what you love. Oh, yeah, just follow your dreams. Yeah, find your passion. Yeah, so many of you. It's this weird capitalist purpose culture, right? Western self-help often sells ego, and it's like ego fulfillment is spirituality. And so we're going to go through a couple like reframes, couple places, and we're just jumping right in. Um, but actually, I'm going to pause for a sec just because we have a moment. Does anyone have any questions about me or my story? Especially, I mean, for folks who have been with me for a long time, you can ask, or anyone who's new, because I know sometimes I'll do a longer self intro, but I just feel like I want to jump right in. But if there's anything where you're like, wait, I actually realized I didn't share my yoga lineage. So my main teacher is in the lineage of Sri Adi Shankaracharya, a radical Advaita Vedanta lineage. And my teacher who's living is his name is Shankarji. I met him in Bihar when I was living in India. I was actually working in a school, volunteering in a school there, and became enraptured with what he was teaching. He was teaching from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Yoga Sutras to anyone and everyone who wanted to learn. And that included Dalit folks, outcast folks, women, people who in India, this is highly, it's radical because even though the caste system has officially been abolished, it's like racism in the United States and in Europe, it's completely running things. And so many folks do not have access to yogic wisdom. So I just stumbled upon his teachings. He was volunteering in the same school that I was working at. And I feel like I sat down and never got up for the next 2 years, basically. I came home to make a little more money, go back and keep learning with him. And finally, at a certain point, someone asked, did I always think I'd teach or teach yoga? Um, no. So at the time that I was there in India, I was taking kind of a sabbatical from teaching in the middle. And I did not have any intention of teaching yoga. But he said to me, Shankarji was like, look, you've studied after the end of this 2 years, you've studied enough. You need to, and I'm doing this work here, but you need to take what you know and go back to the West. The West sort of understands asana, but they really don't understand yoga philosophy and yoga ethics. And what I'm now understanding is yoga psychology, right? Helps us really like fulfill our greatest aims as beings and as a collective. And so I came back and I did not teach. You know how it happens? Sometimes people say, you got to teach this. And we all find all kinds of ways to, oh, not me. Oh, could it be, and it's real. It took me 5 more years until I would teach after I returned home. Both things I really fell into. I won't tell you my when I fell in, but I will shortly for teaching English and history. I thought I wanted to be a writer. I graduated from Berkeley, degree in philosophy, got a job at Condé Nast. They published Vogue and Mademoiselle. Realized that, oh wait, I'm selling advertising. That's not the same as being a writer. And so I quit my job, moved back home to LA, and then went to my old high school to just do an information interview about what is teaching, what is this path, and they turned it into a job interview. And the next week, I had a classroom full of 32 students. I had no training. I had a degree, but no teacher education. My students were my teachers. So a lot of my life has been that responding to the unfoldment. Um, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Radical something practice. Wait, Brandy, can you clarify? Oh, yoga as a radical. Let's go back in. See what you're asking about. Yeah, radical, decolonial. A lot of what I mean by radical is this, right? So in the West, yoga has been completely watered down. Yoga is physical. Yoga is attainments. It's appearance. It's a workout. It's hot yoga. It's power yoga. It's fullest expression of the pose. None of that is what yoga is. It's the same with Dharma. Dharma is not purpose, not in the small kind of find your purpose, like self-help sense. And so when I say radical yoga teacher trainings, a radical school, I mean radical as in at the root of yoga as a path and a practice of self-transformation. Yeah. And so I like this little picture. It's like moving the E away from ego. It's like, okay, we get to go. What if Dharma isn't about you? It's beyond ego or our small sense of self, like the little s. And instead, it's about connecting to the big S self, the all, the interconnectedness, right? Yoga is union, connecting to the small, our individual unique being to the all. Your Dharma is about fulfilling your nature in service. And so the second reframe is the purpose, and this is the one we've kind of jumped into. The purpose industry is ego. And Western yoga feeds our egos. It really, really does. Purpose is defined as passion. Our dream jobs are supposed to equal self-fulfillment, but how many of us, right? And you can, like, as I worked in schools, there were things that I really loved. And I did in some ways feel like I was living and fulfilling my actual purpose, but I was so misaligned. There was so much internal nervous system activation. I was so stressed out. The system itself was in breakdown. And so purpose is self-focused. In a way, it's selfish, right? And this is a misunderstanding of Dharma that we've done in the West. Dharma is not our purpose, and it's not a capitalist fulfillment of, of what we're supposed to do in our work world. Oops, did I just do? So the other tricky thing is Dharma changes, right? Dharma is alignment, and I don't think I go back here. Actually, so Dharma is living in alignment with your inner unfolding, right? The small S self as it connects to the big S self, or another way to look at it would be union, yoga, the yoking of your individual self with all things, with all beings, right? So Dharma is all of that. And what was Dharma yesterday may be Adharma today. In an Abrahamic sense, we sometimes think of like Adharma as evil, but it's actually not really evil or wrong. It's just misalignment. It's misalignment with truth in the moment. And in the this is defined in the Rig Veda. So truth evolves, right? Our Dharma, the truth that is emerging in us evolves while our ego clings. It clings. I clung so hard to being a teacher. Wow, I was supposed to be out of that LA Unified classroom a while before I actually got out of it. I clung so hard to living in LA. And thank goodness I'm back. But like now I know enough to know, oh, I'm here for as long as I'm here, right? I don't really have control. I'm just kind of flowing with and responding alignment, the opposite of Adharma, alignment with the truth of unfoldment, the small S self with the big S self in the moment. Who are you becoming? And maybe drop a one in the chat if this is making sense. Is this, are you feeling me here, understanding this is, we get so caught. And in yoga, we can practice, there's some certain, and I won't go all the way into this today, just because of the sake of time, but the yamas and niyamas, the foundational yoga philosophy, really helps us ground in our our dharma. And especially, because we're falling into misalignment all the time and then back into moving back into alignment. And so when we're wondering, well, how do I get back into that alignment? It's the yamas like ahimsa, non-harm, love, satya, truthfulness, right? These are the things that obscure the clarity of our souls. And so the fourth one is Dharma is radical, right? It's sacred rebellion. It's often countercultural. It's not polite. It's how your yoga moves off the mat. It's a kind of countercultural truth lived in action. It doesn't have to be. Of course, your dharma could, your unfoldment could align with societal norms, absolutely. It's just that it's not about comfort. It's not about the easy way out. And often, especially with the way yoga is showing up in the West, it's about like resisting conformity, consumerism. Um, I'll just ask you for a moment, how many people have felt like if they're going to go to a yoga class, right? First of all, it's like interesting that we have this frame of going to a yoga class. They have to look a certain way, dress a certain way. Drop a yes in the chat if you've ever felt this. Like you maybe have to look, you know, thin, or you have to have certain clothes, or you have to be flexible, or you have to have certain like accoutrements, certain things like a yoga mat or a strap. Yeah. And the truth is, yoga is a whole mind, body, spirit philosophy. Its aim is liberation. It, in its essence, in its origination in the Saraswati River Valley and the Indus River Valley, was radically countercultural. What it was, how it emerged, is there were many different people. There's not just like one yoga lineage, there's many different yoga lineages. But what they had in common was folks were going, you know, in the Indus Valley, in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, society was pretty advanced. It was very comfortable. And so the yogis were like, wait, is this all there is to life? Like running water, we have irrigation, we have drainage, right? We have farms, um, meaningful work. But is there more? Why am I not happy? Anyone felt that? Right? Like anyone felt um, like, wait, what is this about? I think now we also have so many things in our world that makes us discontent, right? There's a lot of reasons for discontent, societally, politically. I think we have some of the comforts, but also a lot of the discomforts. Yeah. And I'm seeing some folks saying the studio you go to doesn't make you feel that way. Ah, it's awesome. I really love hearing. And I know there's teachers here who create spaces, and maybe folks who want to become teachers here who are learning and want to learn how to teach in a way that includes folks, that is like the kind of yoga where you don't need to touch your toes, doesn't matter what you're wearing. We can do chair yoga. I saw someone said chair yoga, lying down, standing up, on a mat, all of it. And what we're focused on is the benefit, not the form. The form is like the least important thing. The form is just what gets us to the freedom. Yeah. Okay. And so at its deepest, we're exploring an unfolding path, and we're going to move into practice in just a moment. But this is the final kind of concept here, and I want to just make sure this is clear for folks. Dharma is not just duty. That's often how it's described in India, especially. It's like that it must be your duty to do this. It's actually a kind of cosmic unfoldment of truth lived through you. And for folks, I'm so appreciative of someone who said, sort of understanding. It's hard to really get this in one class. I will just say that because it is so radically different than the way, like the way of looking, the way of seeing, the way of being in the West. It's a whole different frame. And this is that psychological shift, right, of yoga psychology. It's our essence that is expressing itself in harmony with the divine's unfolding order. And so it does not matter what you do. You could have this job or that job, right? You could be a teacher, you could be a writer, you could be a therapist, you could be whatever. I'm actually curious if folks would just put some of the things that like you do in the world, right? Yes, worship and devotion. Yeah, we live into it rather than think, yeah, you could be a parent. It is not what we do. Musician for family, teach theater, project manager, medical editor, operating room nurse manager. Yeah, all of these things, amazing. They're not our true Dharma. Our Dharma is our cosmic unfolding of truth in whatever way it is expressed in the moment. So this is what leads teachers like Thich Nhat Hanh. When I met him, he's a Zen Buddhist monk. He's passed away now. I studied with him for a decade, and he ordained me in his lineage as well. He had lived as a monk since he was 13, and he would say, I'm not a monk, right? I'm not attached to this identity. It's so tricky. It's like this unfoldment. Even in those of us who are parents, retired Pilates teacher, yeah, survivor support. Such amazing, amazing things. It's the way your unique seed, right? Your unique expression of oneness is unfolding in the world. That's what Dharma is. If sometimes it lines up with the work we do, and sometimes it's separate, but it is not dependent on that work. And so that's why, like 2 years ago, I broke my wrist, my right wrist. I was traveling. And for many people, I got so many questions, but you're a yoga teacher. How are you going to teach yoga? What are you going to do? And luckily, for one, in my case, it was temporary, right? Although it feels anyone who's ever broken anything, it does not feel temporary. It's very, very all-consuming. Um, I was in a cast. If you watch the TEDx talk, you'll see me in a cast because I was supposed to get the cast off and they did not take it off before that talk. It didn't matter because the way that I was expressing and living my Dharma was responding in that moment. And in a way, those moments or those things that happen that completely unexpected, like moving to a state, apologies if anyone here lives in Florida. I met so many amazing people there. I just never even ever planned to visit Florida and ended up living 6 years of my life there, right? So much wisdom came from that would not have come had that not unfolded. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to move into practice. And I love the question, how can you find out what your Dharma is? Yeah. So, yeah, I love this. All wonderful questions. So I would say that one thing I could tell you is we don't find it out with our minds. We don't find it out by figuring it out. We find it out by it emerging through us. And this is what yoga, all of yoga, right? Yoga, asana, mantra. Asana is the physical practice. Mantra, the chants, pranayama, breath, pratyahara, sensory focus, um, meditation, dhyana. All of these practices are there to remove the blocks, the granthis, because from a yogic psychology perspective, We are always already whole, complete, and living in our Dharma, living that unique unfoldment. If we feel a misalignment, adharma, it's not inevitable, it's not permanent. We can shift back into that alignment, but it's going to be an embodied experience. It's not something I can tell you, oh, just do this and you'll be living your dharma. It's it's only something that can unfold through experiential practice. Does that make sense? So I apologize for not being able to give you an exact answer, but if I did, I would be doing you a disservice because that is not the truth of what yoga is here to offer us. It's not an easy path, but it is simple. It's the more you devote yourself to the practices, right? These practices of yoga, the more that unfoldment emerges. And as I did my own 200-hour, right after I came back from studying in India and then continued to learn, what I noticed was I was more and more and more and more and more in alignment. I sometimes think a 200-hour yoga teacher training is like it's like group therapy or something, right? It really is a psychological liberation from those blocks, from those granthis. And some of it is, again, it's like simple but not easy. It's like brahmacharya, it's boundaries. Knowing, like when we know our own unfoldment, we know what is a yes and what is a no. And we're able to clearly move, right? And in the world from our sacred yes and from our sacred no. And that allows for more flow, more truth. There's all these boons, right? In there, the um, I think I'm sorry, I'm just blanking on the name in Sanskrit. The boons that come, um, the by boons I mean like they're almost like powers. They really are powers. And another way of looking at this, for those who are a bit more esoteric minded, is it's like magic, right? When I started teaching, back baby Susanna, just out of college, in my class did not listen to me. They would not listen to a word I said. First, they couldn't hear me. They said I was too quiet. And second, I looked basically like them. I was whatever, 21. Some of my students were 18, 19. They're like, Miss, we're not going to do homework for you. We didn't do homework back home. And there, our teachers could hit us. We know you're not going to hit us. We're not doing anything for you. We're barely going to come to class. And I was thrown so deeply, right? The unfoldment of Dharma in the moment into my yoga practice because I would cry on the way to school. I would cry on the way home from school. I wanted to do a good job so badly. And I knew I did not know how to do that. But I knew I had to practice and regulate my nervous system just to show up. I had 300 students all day long. And after a couple months, my students started to listen, right? I was listening to them, they were listening to me. I was like, look, what do you want to study? I'm supposed to teach you literature and US history. They're like, well, we want to learn. They were immigrants, my students, it was English as second language class. What is this American dream and why is it more like an American nightmare? Can you break that down for us? And then can you help us gain power within this system, right? And I was like, yes, I can do that. And so after just about 2 months, all of a sudden, my students were listening to me. I was also the kind of person that at a party, no, if I said something, I was in the middle of a story, people would just talk over me. Now, look, we've got like 100 people on a class here to listen to what I have to say. This is not me, right? This is Susanna getting out of the way of my ego. I am still insecure. I am still shy. Susanna, right? What it is the yoga moving through me, the yoga speaking through me. And that is the boons that come. Yeah. Okay. Oh, amazing. Cities. Thank you. Yes. Um, okay. Let's get into practice. You ready for that? All right, I'm going to share my screen just because I know that for some folks it's really helpful to the see what we're going to do. So this is a practice. Diwali starts in 2 days, and so I wanted to give this to you all now. I'll also send this out with the email that goes out with the replay, so you'll have it to look at the slides, particularly these. So Diwali is a festival of lights. It's a triumph, a time of triumph of light over darkness. And so tonight, or whatever time zone you're in, we're going to honor that light, that inner flame, with mantra, mudra, and meditation. And at its heart, it's an inner festival, right? There will be people all over the world, in India, in the diaspora, and just everywhere, Nepal, Sri Lanka, everywhere you can imagine, actually doing rituals for this sacred ceremony. But from a yogic perspective, it is an internal ceremony that is just as powerful as any external ceremony, if not more. It also celebrates the victory of Dharma over adharma, truth over distortion. And it's every time that we live in truth over fear, right? Remember that radical nature. It's like when we choose to do what is ours to do, even if it is unpopular, even if we think people won't like us, or we might ruffle some feathers. This is an offering to the truth, the fire of the truth that's inside you. And this is yoga. So let's practice. Okay. So our mantra is Om Agni Namaha. I honor the fire of truth within. And it connects us to the Dharma as truth in motion, that light of who you are meeting the call of what the world needs. And I'll show you this and then we'll do the practice. We'll do Kubera Mudra, which you can do by bringing your thumb, index finger, and middle fingers together, and then curl your other two fingers inwards so they're resting on your palm. And feel the inner strength and focus there. And we'll take some breaths. And then we'll bring it all together and do a meditation. So, invitation to take Kubera Mudra if it feels supportive to you, and you can let the focus point first, and if you want, place it on your third eye and just give a little circle, maybe on your temples, little circle there, down at your heart. Stand so you can see a little circle there. And then you can bring your hands down to rest on your lap. Deep breath in and full breath out. And as you gently let your gaze be soft or slowly close your eyes, imagine a small, steady flame at your heart. This flame is one of wisdom and knowledge that has been passed down from teacher to student for thousands of years. With each inhale, it brightens. With each exhale, it clears away the smoke of confusion. And you can ask the sacred light, the Homa, the light, the inner light of wisdom, what truth longs to be lived through me? What truth longs to be lived through me? letting without forcing, trusting, trusting your flame. Om Agni Namaha. Om Agni Namaha. Om Agni Namaha. Where may I have mistaken passion for Dharma, for purpose. And perhaps as your truth, your unfolding comes through, if it's able to coalesce into a phrase or a word, gently taking a moment, looking around you. And I invite you to drop that phrase or word in the chat. And if you're not sure, then that's okay. It can be a continued unfoldment. There's nothing wrong with unfoldment, with exploration, with curiosity. And this is what yoga is, right? That unfoldment. And apologies for the autocorrect, really changed the mantra, but it's Om Agni Namaha. Yes, I am heart-centered connection and compassion. It's time to take the seat of the teacher, open-hearted, compassion, beautiful. And you can keep them coming. Please write yours down if you've got your journal, or you want to just take some notes for yourself to tell them we're not evil, we are love. Yes. Reclaim my space in honor of my community. Yeah. Middle-aged unsureness, blessed undoing. Yes. Yes, these are so powerful. And so you see how your unfoldment, it's responding to the truth of the moment. This is why the very first Yoga Sutra, Atta Yoga Anushasanam. Now we begin, or really we continue, the exploration of yoga, because yoga is now. It's right here and now. It's in this very moment. Powerful. And you can keep those coming. And so these practices, of course, no one owns them. I don't own them. As a teacher, I always want my students to go 10, 100, 1,000 times further than I could ever go. And so these are yours. Again, I'll be sending them to you. You can revisit them whenever you would like. And remember, when the stress, right, when the overwhelm, when all of the things get really full or loud, you can return to that flame within. That's really, truly the power of Diwali, is that light, that inner light, the yogic light, the light of wisdom. Your Dharma is not something that you find. It's not out there. You don't have to go looking for yourself. Although if that's the way the truth emerges, maybe you will, right? It's within you, and it's remembered in an ever transformative yogic unfoldment. So does anyone feel this spark, right? Do you feel a kind of spark tonight with what we're exploring? You can drop the word spark in the chat if you would like. Stop pushing and trying so hard, trust what comes. Yeah, compassion, so cool that others had that experience. Yeah. Yeah, I feel it too. I love someone put the little spark emoji. I love those. Even though ChatGPT really appropriated them. I feel like yeah. Okay. Um, so consent to share about the 200 hour. If it's not time for you to do it, I still invite you to listen in because maybe you're going to hear something and be like, oh, actually, like when I did my first 200 hour, I was sitting at tea with a friend, no thoughts of doing a yoga training. I'd been back from India maybe 6 months or something like that. And my friend was like, oh, I'm doing a yoga teacher training. And I looked at her and I said, oh, yeah, me too. She's like, what? Which one are you doing? I said, the one you are. I didn't even know who the teacher was, right? So maybe there's something here for you. Maybe there's something here for future you, for past you, for a friend. So what we did here, of course, it's just a spark, right? And that spark needs tending. Dharma needs community and mentorship to grow into that, like continuing to choose yourself, to choose by yourself. I mean, your unique unfoldment in alignment with cosmic, like universal order, oneness. Yeah. And so most trainings focus on sequencing, which is really important. We do a lot on that as well, of course, how to teach a yoga class. But ours teaches, I mean, honestly, and in a moment, I'll have Linda, because Linda did one of our teacher trainings. I'll have Linda share that experience. I think more than anything, it actually teaches that yoga isn't something that you do, it's something that you are. It's a way of being, and that is the way your dharma unfolds, right? Is continually choosing to listen, to be present. And it gives us the tools to do that. So ours teaches that kind of unfoldment, moment to moment. It's over like 5.5 months. So there's a lot of time, but not too much, right? It's like enough time to really go deep and to show up like inspired some days. And then some days we're honestly just dragging ourselves in, but we're always transformed. It teaches service, social justice, and transformation. And it kind of forms that bridge between inspiration and embodiment. And this is our image with all the guest faculty, or really they're not guest faculty. They've been teaching now for 6 years online. So there are faculty and they come in on the weekends and teach during, what am I trying to say? During our weekend retreats. Okay. Um, very few limbs in the West actually guide you through an experience of the 8 limbs. They talk about them, you might memorize them, but are you living them, right? It's all 8 limbs of yoga for personal and social change. The yamas and niyamas, yoga ethics, pranayama, breath work, dharana, mindfulness, dhyana, meditation, samadhi, freedom and living joyfully, and asana, physical practice. It's rooted in Dharma, not what so many trainings in the West are focused on. They have qualifications. You have to have done X. You have to be able to do a headstand. None of that matters, right? One of my first students was paraplegic, couldn't move any part of their body, and is an incredible yoga teacher and practitioner. It's not about performance. It's not about what we look like, what we can or can't do, whether we're injured or not. All of that, disabled, have disabilities. I have multiple disabilities, physical and developmental, essentially. And also, it's not about, you can be neurodivergent. All of these things are welcome in a space like this. It's ancient wisdom plus a social justice lens. I like to make sure that's clear because it is honoring the roots of yoga, but also honoring us in the real world and the people that we're serving. It's not privileging that ancient wisdom over the present moment. It's that unfoldment, right? It's the unfoldment of, I would say, a socially engaged yoga. Such an amazing community. We're getting so good, I have to say, and I'll pass to you in a second, Linda, about the community that we create and the way that students get to connect. They're really going deep. They really know each other. They're supporting each other. They're showing up for each other, and friendships are formed for years. And truly, what you learn is to serve, not just sequence. Um, so I just want to say, if this feels good and like some sort of, oh, like a spark or a homecoming, imagine 200 hours of that, right? You're becoming the teacher and leader that the world needs. No matter what, you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to be able to do certain things. Um, you are the teacher, the leader with yoga that we need. And I'll stop sharing and pass to you, Linda, for a moment, and then I'll show a little bit inside the course portal.
Thanks, Susanna. Hello again, everyone. As Susanna mentioned, I took the YTT about 5 years ago at this point, and I have not left since then. This community here, I don't have another community like this one. And so I'm deeply grateful that I get to continue to participate and to meet wonderful beings every year throughout these trainings. For me, taking the yoga teacher training really supported me in actually unlearning a lot of what I had learned from a YTT 200 program elsewhere. And I was really called to Susanna's training because something felt like it was missing in the way that I was teaching and the way that I was holding space. And I couldn't really name it. I couldn't really articulate it. I didn't know what it was that just didn't feel right. And I'm thankful for this program because it really gave me a deeper understanding of how to really appreciate the practice of yoga, how to honor its roots, and what inclusivity, accessibility really looks like, and how to really center and hold space so that folks can potentially feel like they belong, right? Which is such an important piece in my own personal story, a sense of belonging. My previous 200-hour led me to understand that the way that I was sharing this practice of yoga, the way that I was holding space, was actually perpetuating the harm that we see so much in these yoga spaces. And it helped me understand my positionality and where I hold privilege, where I can be an ally, and also affirmed my experience in navigating the yoga world. And so I'm just deeply thankful for all of the learnings, for all of the wonderful people that I've met along the way, and so thankful that I now get to continue to be a part of this community and be more in a support role where I join Susanna for all of the live calls, and I have a lot of one-on-ones with all the students that participate in the training. And it's just been really soul nourishing, and I'm just deeply grateful. So what I'm going to do is I'll share a link in the chat. I do have some time on my calendar for any of you that are interested, curious, have any questions about the training, about the schedule. We can get on a call, and I'm happy to answer all of your questions and provide all of the support I can. And I'll leave you with this. If there's something stirring within you, if you feel a pull or a tug at your heart, as much as you can, trust that and know that, again, you can book a call with me and we can talk about it some more. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. It's honestly such a joy to work together. We we get to do such incredible things. And I wanted to share inside the training a little bit, right? Like our training goes so much further than just training you to be a yoga teacher. It's like being a teacher, having a practice, a deep personal home practice, living yogic values, connection with community. And we have a path, right? We're like visualize and take you through this path to being an embodied yoga leader. So even if you've already done a 200-hour, we have many students who do this training again. There's a lot that's in here: yoga's roots, ethics, and philosophy. Module 2, yoga and power, privilege, and the yogic science of social justice. Module 3, meditation and yoga psychology. Module 4, anatomy and chakra energy anatomy for yogis. 5, pranayama and bandhas. 6, Sanskrit poses, accessible sequencing. 7, Ayurveda mantra and mudra. 8, how to teach confidently. 9, trauma-informed yoga leadership. And 10, business and impact of yoga for social change. This is just a little peek inside the manual. This is our module 1 going into Sanskrit. And logistics, we have super experiential, interactive, fun live training sessions Monday from 4 to 7. Part of that, and we take a break in the middle, part of it is exploring together. Then we break out, we practice, we do ritual, we're doing all sorts of like active, creative things, practices as well. The fourth weekend of the month from 11 to 2 Pacific, we have, so that's just one weekend a month. We have our weekend retreats. And then most weeks, but not all of them, we have a weekly in-depth like caucus space. So meaning we caucus, like we break out, say we have an affinity space for folks who are exploring yoga as neurodivergent folks, for Black folks, for folks of color, for queer folks, for trans folks, right? So we're really, there's enough of us that we can actually form a caucus. Like it's so special. And we have those affinity groups through the whole training. We're meeting with them every week, most Mondays as well. It's really incredible. Our students say all types of things. We heard from Linda, but it's like this YTT changed the way I view the practice of yoga and what it means to teach. And at the end, you get your certification. We are a Yoga Alliance school, just so you can get the Yoga Alliance certification, the RYT, if you like, registered yoga teacher. And the other thing is you get, as Linda mentioned, one-on-one support. We are an award-winning training. We've won 3 awards in thought leadership. And I think I'll just show you. This is inside the portal. Can you still see that? Yeah. So this is our 2026 200 hour, revamped a little bit. And every module, right? So like we have a welcome module, which you get very soon after you sign up. In this module, when you click on it, you got welcome and guidance, framing the journey for folks of color, for the anti-racist journey for white participants, all the kind of details. And then you get a welcome packet as well. When you start to go through the modules are here, and then there's the live recordings show up there, so it's very organized. You get a workbook for every single, every module, and you can see it's an in-depth workbook. And we do this because some people really learn in different ways, right? You download the workbook, you can write in it, go through things like all the different kinds of yoga. And then there are videos that you can watch, for example, on a pronunciation guide to the poses, 4 types of yoga. And we're meeting to deepen on these things. So some people go through and they watch all the videos. They read the manual, but some people mostly just show up to the live classes and use these as like reference or the manual as reference. And you're more than welcome to do that. It is yoga school, not school. So it's absolutely okay to miss classes. You can watch the recording. And there's lots of support. So I will stop there. I'm grateful to be able to share with you about this. I'm really excited about it, even if it's not for you right now. Maybe it is in the future, or maybe it's for a friend. And so invitation, if you can, and are like, yes, this is spark. This is how I'm going to carry my Dharma forward, and that focus on purpose, right? Like true purpose, the purpose as unfoldment. Then join us, because there's no better way that I know to liberation than a deep practice of yoga. And if you sign up, if you end up signing up in the next 5 days, then you get a one-on-one session with me. And I love doing those sessions. They're a really wonderful way to get to meet you and know you and support your unique unfoldment. I would love to, general yearly schedule. We usually do the 200 Jan to June and the 300 June to December. I'm not sure if that's what you meant, but the 200 is the beginning of the year, 300 the end of the year. And then also, yeah, you can check out the programs there. I would love to just invite you, whether you do this training or not, where are you going to be deepening with yoga, with your Dharma, just bringing the practice that we've explored together now, connecting in as we move into this powerful time from this era, season of the goddesses into the season of light, this inner light enlightenment. And we'll close with a mantra. So you can find, maybe pull that word that you dropped in the chat earlier in and hold it at your chest, hands at your heart, perhaps forming your fingers into Kubera mudra, the seed, right, of abundance, of your purpose, your path, those words that you shared, truth, compassion. And we'll close with a chant that uplifts our personal Dharma in alignment with the unfoldment of all beings. Deep breath in and full breath out. Om Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for your practice. If you have any questions, you can message us. You can hit reply to the emails we send you, to the replay we'll send. And please feel free to unmute yourself and say goodbye. And we can also hang out if anyone has any specific questions that you want to ask. I don't know if Linda can hang out, but I can hang out for a little bit now. And thank you. You can unmute and say goodnight.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas
It was a
noches.
pleasure to meet
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Good night.